Hey folks, welcome back. So this week, as you can see, we are not starting the video down by the Millhouse. And that is because we are finally getting around to working on the windows this week. Now of course the windows that we're going to be using in our Millhouse build are, I guess, sort of reclaimed from the log farmhouse that's here at the farm. Now, I don't plan on reusing any of these windows when we redo the farmhouse, just because they're old, they're single pane, and when I redo the house, I want to use something that's double pane. It'll be a little bit more energy efficient, I guess. It'll hold heat inside of the house a little bit better, but for the Millhouse, I'm not quite as concerned about it. So this will be a good use for these old windows. Now, reusing these are going to be a little bit of a process because some of them are in kind of rough shape. I'm very sure that we've got a few broken panes on some of these, so we're going to have to replace some of those. So we've got a little bit of work to do just on the windows themselves before we can actually go into installing them into the Millhouse. But before we can do any of that work, let's get these things loaded into the truck and take them down there. Alright, we're back down at the Millhouse, so let's work on getting all these windows moved up into the loft where we can kind of check them over, see what needs to be done with them, figure out how many panes we need to replace and whatnot. Alright, well, we got all of our windows up here, and we are missing quite a few panes out of these. Now I'm thinking, if I recall right, that there are some extra panes still in the farmhouse. Whether or not they're the right size for these or not, I'm not for sure, but I'm pretty sure there are some over there. So we're gonna head over there real quick, check that out, see if there's any for what we need, and then we can go from there. Alright, well, we got them up here into the loft area. I think I heard a little bit of a rattling sound coming from the package when I moved it, so I'm thinking that either one or possibly both of the panes in here might be broke. Seeing broken glass, and this one appears to be good. The bottom one, not so much. We'll set this one over there with that other one. And that one is kind of in pieces. Alright, so well, at least we gained 2 more panes out of this. One that was loose and then one that was inside of that package. So I think if I did my math right, that gives us a total of 5 good panes out of all these windows. And so we've got 4 for each set, so we have 16 that we need total. So that means that we need another 11 of these things made up. Alright, so the next thing we need to do today is we need to get the loader and take that up towards the main road here, because hopefully tomorrow I'm going to be picking up some feed. I don't know for sure, but either way I got to take the loader over to the other place so that I can unload the stuff when I get it, hopefully, because the bagged stuff isn't too bad. It's just the 1-ton tote of chicken feed that's a little bit difficult to get off the truck without the help of the loader. So let's get that thing moved. Alright, so we are skipping ahead a few days here, and we've gone up, we've gotten the feed, the loader's back here, but it's up at the top where we, I guess, left it from last time I was out here. So first thing we need to do is go get that and bring it back down here to the mill house. We now have it back down here. So what we're gonna work on here for a little bit this afternoon is getting these windows cleaned up a little bit. So they're kind of, you know, they hadn't been coated with any sort of paint or stain or anything like that for a while, so they're a little bit rough. So there's also some old paint on there, a little bit left. Want to get all that sanded up, get them really well cleaned up, and also take out the glass panes that are in there currently so we can really get it nice and cleaned up. And then once we get our new panes, we can put any of the old ones back in and then replace any of the new ones that we need back into these frames. Now, one important thing that I do have with me today is this thing right here. We got a respirator, because with the age of this paint, it's more than likely that there is lead in it. So we don't want to be breathing any of that stuff in, so we're going to be using the respirator here today. Well, we kind of got the front and the back pretty well done. There's still a few little spots that I need to go over again, kind of clean them up just a little bit better, but they're actually looking pretty good. I wasn't for sure what they were gonna look like once I started stripping off the paint and the kind of the grayed wood on top of it and getting it down, cleaned up a little bit, but they're actually looking pretty darn good. They look to be pine, I think, which kind of makes sense because you want something a little bit softer to work with for doing stuff like this. I mean, you could use something else, but that's what I think they are. I haven't done along the outside edges or the inside edges here, so I've still got to do that. The inside is going to be kind of interesting because that's kind of got a little bit of fancy stuff to it, so I'm gonna have to do all that by hand so I can clean it up and make it look halfway decent. Alright, last day for this week. I brought some slightly more aggressive, a little bit coarser grit discs for the sander. Hopefully that'll make it go a little bit faster to get the worst of the paint and the grime and everything off to start with. Then I can come back and smooth them out a little bit with a little bit finer grit sandpaper. So let's give that a try. right, well that is 2 sets down and 2 to go. Now of course we still gotta sand down the inside, and we're gonna have to do that part by hand because like I said, we got a little bit fancy of a molding or whatever inside there. So that's gonna take a little bit of time, but the majority of it, we got 2 sets done. So one other thing that I did this week is I was out and about and I noticed a for sale sign for something, and it was sitting on a little wagon, a little farm wagon sort of thing. And I've been looking for a small wagon like that for to go with the mobile chicken coop project that I'll be working on here in the future. So I called the guy up and I asked him whether that was for sale as well, and he said, well, yeah, sure, but he wanted a little bit more than I was wanting to spend on it. But he said, well, come on over to this other barn, and he said, I might have something that would work for you. So he said, I got this old spreader here. He said it's got a really stout frame on it. He said that might work for what you're wanting to do. So obviously I ended up getting that as well, so I hauled that over here. And then another option that he showed was a boat trailer, and it's a kind of a smaller boat trailer, but I saw it and I thought, with a lot bit of cutting and welding, I might be able to turn that into sort of a log arch, a log hauler, because it's got the length on it. And, you know, I'd have to kind of reconfigure it a little bit, but the material's all there. I think it'll work. The price was right. So I ended up getting 2 trailers this past week. We got the boat trailer here, and then we got our spreader trailer wagon thing over there. So those will be a part of a couple probably upcoming projects here. Who knows when, because I've already got a whole bunch of other stuff that I need to be working on. Okay, so I've gotten a lot of questions about stairs for the Millhouse, and I kept on forgetting to add in a little clip the last couple weeks, so we're gonna do it right now. So like I said, I've gotten a lot of questions about, are there gonna be stairs, where are they gonna be, etc. So what I'm eventually going to do, and hopefully it'll get done sometime this summer, is I want to put in a set of stairs that start over here and kind of come up like that. So that way they're kind of out of the way, they're off to the side. I've still got all of this area over here, and then they'll lead up to kind of the walk-through door up here. Now, when they're gonna go in for sure, I don't know. I mean, for now, it works all right just to use the ladder, but I do plan on putting in some stairs up here eventually. All right, well, we got a pretty good start on these windows this week. Like I said, pretty much all of the larger surfaces of all the frames are sanded down. We got all the paint off from. There's a couple spots I still need to go back and kind of touch up just a little bit in a few little places. Now, of course, next week we will have to come back and do a little bit of hand sanding around in the insides in there to get the rest of that cleaned up. That's going to take a little while to do that, but hopefully we can get that done next week. I still need to contact the glass place and find out if they can make me some new panes. But anyway, that'll be for next week. Also for next week, hopefully, maybe, we might be getting some logs in. Now these are gonna be some white oak logs, and they are gonna be milled into the decking for the bridge. Now that I've got this area kinda closed up to a certain extent, I'm kind of wanting to get moving on the bridge, get that done before we may have some new flood zone restrictions through this area. Just get that wrapped up before any of that comes into effect. So we may be getting some logs next week, and that's kind of the very first step of redoing the bridge. So we may have a little bit of bridge stuff sort of included in next week's video as well. So anyway, that's gonna be it for this week. As always, I appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you next week.